morning, everyone. My name is Julie Chen, and I am the Vice Chancellor for Research and Innovation here at the University of Massachusetts Lowell. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this wonderful, wonderful event, the grand opening of the UMass Lowell Fabric Discovery Center. A little over a year ago, we were actually upstairs surrounded by blank walls, concrete and blank walls. And here we are, a little more than a year later, because of all of you, because of the friends in the room, the supporters in the room, the partners in the room, the teammates in the room. Because of everybody in this room, we've been able to achieve this amazing milestone, which, like a commencement, is really just the beginning. So what you're going to hear today with our speaking program is from many of the partners and teammates that were involved in making this happen, because this has truly been an effort that is dependent on the coordination and the cooperation of government, university, and industry. And in the spirit of that teamwork, it is really a big celebration for how all these pieces have come together. And so I'm going to start by introducing our first speaker. With great honor, she leads what was named just a little less than a year ago, number 4 in the state of women-led businesses and the top higher education institute in the state in terms of women-led businesses. She herself is a recognized leader in entrepreneurship and online education and is no stranger to innovation herself. It is my great pleasure to introduce UMass Lowell Chancellor Jackie Maloney.
Thank you, Julie. How wonderful it is to be here and see this incredible turnout. But I guess that's what happens when you get the governor of the state of Massachusetts, the most popular governor in the country. Thank you, Governor Baker, for being here with us. It means so much to us, for everything that you do for Lowell and for this university. Thanks for being here. And thanks, Julie, for those kind words, but of course it doesn't hurt when you're surrounded by some of the most brilliant people in the world, not the least of which is our Vice Chancellor for Research, Julie Chen. Congratulations on this fabulous opening. Because we know that this Fabric Discovery Center is going to mean the world to this city, the Commonwealth, and the university. I'd also like to thank our local officials who are here with us today, Mayor William Samaras, City Manager Eileen Donahue, and of course our great representatives, David Nangle, who did just have to step out. Thank him for his tireless advocacy for UMass Lowell and the city, Tom Golden and Roddy Mom. Thank you all for being here and for everything that you do for UMass Lowell. We are also very honored to have several very high-ranking leaders from the Department of Defense. In fact, I wonder how it's running today with all of you here. Beginning with Brigadier General Vincent Malone, Deputy Commanding General of the U.S. Army Research, Development, and Engineering Command, and Senior Commander of the Natick Soldier Systems Center. Mr. Douglas Tamilio, the Director of the Natick Soldier Research, Development, and Engineering Center, thank you for your tremendous support of Heroes and for being a key partner with us and going forward on this important initiative. Also here today is Colonel Sean O'Neill, who just took over as commander of U.S. Army Research Institute of Environmental Medicine. We're so pleased to have such a strong partnership with the Department of Defense, and we believe very firmly that our work together, you with our researchers, have been able to really transform the way that we think about how to protect our soldiers and take that important technology to the next level. And of course, I'm thrilled that our partners from Advanced Functional Fabrics of America and NextFlex are here. This Fabric Discovery Center is the perfect addition to the 110 innovation hub that we created a number of years ago. Upstairs, the Innovation Hub and M2D2 have been home to over 60 incubators in just the past year. They've created over 100 jobs, dozens of internships, and brought $40 million in investments and private funding to these important startups. This new expanded facility will be the only one of its kind in the country, and it will bring together industry leaders and researchers who will work together in the important emerging fields of robotics, textiles, yes, believe it or not, textile is now again an emerging field, and flexible electronics. We believe this Fabric Discovery Center will create a new disruptive set of technologies and generate many high-tech jobs. This is a place where scientists and engineers will test and prototype the next generation of those emerging technologies. This is a place where entrepreneurs will take their ideas and move them from concept to commercialization. Now, we all know that textile manufacturing spurred the rise of this great city and also spurred the development and founding of Lowell Textile Institute. With this facility, we believe Lowell will once again be positioned to reclaim its place as a leader in textiles by becoming home to the next generation of fabric manufacturing. We're so proud that our university continues to hold dear our roots in commitment to economic development by engaging the kind of research that will happen in this facility, led by our dedicated faculty and staff. Honestly, it is humbling to come to work every day and be surrounded by these brilliant minds. Brilliant professors like Ram Nagarajan, who is from our plastics engineering department. He is the director of our HEROES program and senior director for strategic defense research programs. Joey Mead, plastics engineering also, director of our Manufacturing Institute, and recent awardee of an NSF Industry University Center on 3D printing in partnership with Georgia Tech and the University of Connecticut. Holly Yanko, professor of computer science, and our Nerve Center director, which will be located here. She is a recent awardee of a $7.5 million multidisciplinary university research initiative on robot assessment with Carnegie Mellon, Tufts, and Brigham Young. It's very good company for UMass Lowell and the city of Lowell. And I'd also like to acknowledge two of our junior faculty in the physical therapy department, Winnie Wu and Pei Chung Cao, who are providing much needed expertise in biomechanics, rehabilitation, and human performance sensing. It is this kind of talent that has driven our rise in national rankings and our recognition as a university as the fastest growing university in New England, 5th fastest growing in the country. Again, I love this governor, don't you? He is such a champion and advocate of this university. He sees us and the work that we do as kind of a poster child for what he is trying to accomplish in the state of Massachusetts. We thank him from the bottom of our hearts for seeing our vision and the potential that it has to contribute to the Commonwealth. Thank you for your $10 million investment in this facility. It made all of this possible. And I would also like to thank everyone in the room. This took a lot of creativity, as Julie said, a lot of thinking and a lot of hard work to pull this facility together and have it be in the great productive mode that it already is in. So thank you all for being here, and it is now my pleasure to introduce the president of the University of Massachusetts. We all know that Marty Meehan set this university on the transformational path that it is on today, and thank goodness our Board of Trustees saw the great job that he's did at UMass Lowell and promoted him to oversee our entire system. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you very much, Jackie, and it's always great to come back to UMass Lowell because the momentum has just been incredible. And Jackie, I want to compliment you and your leadership here at UMass Lowell. I also, UMass is a really important engine that helps drive the economy of Massachusetts. We do over $675 million worth of research. But what I love, and that's, by the way, second to only Harvard and MIT, but the reason I love to come to Lowell is because Lowell's research has always had a focus on those technologies that have a high likelihood of commercialization. I always love to come here because the quarterback of that research operation, the Tom Brady, if you will, of UMass Lowell's research operation is Julie Chen. And Julie, you have done such a great job with this project and with the research here at the university. Thank you for all you do as well. I want to acknowledge City Manager Eileen Donahue, who has come in, and thank her for all of her support for this, not only as City Manager, but also as State Senator Roddy Mom. Thank you very much for being here. City Council, former Mayor Ed Kennedy, I want to thank you as well for your support of the university and for being here today, as well as our trustee from the first trustee, actually, in the history of the five-campus system to actually come from Lowell, and she's a UMass Lowell alum, and regardless of which of the five campuses you're at, she has been the most active trustee on all five campuses. Please welcome Mary Burns. Thanks for being here. So we all know that this state's economy is rapidly changing, and we must continue to adapt in order to cement our status as a leader in the 21st century global economy. And that's exactly what makes today so exciting and so important. Initiatives like the Fabric Discovery Center are what enable Massachusetts to create technologies, jobs, and industries for the future. I'm particularly happy about the fact that UMass Lowell has a history of focusing on research tied to manufacturing. Manufacturing is the engine that drives the economy of Massachusetts and really this country. You can't figure out how to redistribute wealth if you don't create wealth to begin with, and that's done through manufacturing. I also want to compliment the Department of Defense. UMass Lowell has had a great partnership with the Department of Defense for many, many years. And oftentimes I see universities around the country that aren't as quick to work with the Department of Defense on research and development. And the partnership with the Defense Department and R&D at this university going back decades has been great. So I thank you for your participation. I also think that it's unique when the federal government makes the type of research commitments that it's made to a university to have the state willing to step up the way the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has. And that's why the governor is here. And it's a unique, as Jackie said, a unique partnership that really isn't happening this way anywhere in the country. The Fabric Discovery Center will serve students, faculty, and businesses alike, and it anchors the innovation economy and industry that is so important here in the Merrimack Valley. It's going to provide students with incredible research opportunities, prepare them for the critical skills that employers are looking for, and that's exactly what this university's mission is all about. We're educating future leaders. This center has, as Jackie mentioned, world-class researchers. I look at 110 Canal Street and when this was opened, and I want to tie in to why university is so important to the local economy. This district, the Hamilton Canal District, is really important to the city of Lowell, and the first commercial venture to step up to be participating here was UMass Lowell. And now this building is going to be full, and that's as a result of the partnership with the city, but the partnership with business and industry, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the federal government. And I think it speaks volumes to what universities mean to local communities, not just here in Greater Lowell, but all across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I now have the honor of introducing the governor, and I don't want to give any of the details of what he's announcing, other than to say this is a unique partnership, and it is rare when the federal government and industry see a state willing to partner the way the governor is partnering on this particular initiative. Governor Baker and his team has built a deep and meaningful bipartisan leadership for this state, both in terms of dealing with Democrats and Republicans working together in Boston at the State House, but also a partnership with local communities, that is, local officials from both sides of the aisle throughout the communities of Massachusetts, and that has worked well, and I can't think of a better example of that type of partnership paying dividends than right here that what we're announcing today in Lowell. So please welcome the Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I remember the Governor when he announced he was with Julie Chen.
Now you're taking away my...
All right. That was off the record. Forget I said it. But I don't think there's any governor who could have been more engaged and involved with the economic development and research enterprise at UMass Lowell and with the city of Lowell generally. Please welcome Governor Charlie Baker.
As I was saying, first of all, to President Meehan and Chancellor Maloney and to Dr. Chen, this is one more example of the leadership that you all have provided and the partnerships that you've created over the course of many years. And as President Meehan was about to point out, when I ran for governor in 2013, my first official visit as a candidate was here. And I came up here to visit the Innovation Center, and Dr. Chen walked me around. And the main reason I came here was to point out that there was an economy flourishing outside Route 128, and that it was important for people in Boston especially, but across Massachusetts generally, to recognize and understand that there are great things happening in many parts and places around the Commonwealth. And I must say that that visit cemented in my mind a belief in and an appreciation for what UMass Lowell has been and is all about and will be in the future. And today, in many respects, is just one more example of the hard work and the effort and the reputation that's been built and developed by so many people here over the course of the past decade. And to Dr. Chen in particular, I just want to say congratulations to you. Your imagination, your creativity, and your collaborative spirit makes an enormous difference. And I think in some ways, in this day and age especially, we do not necessarily appreciate the value of collaborative spirit in maybe the way that we should. But I happen to think in the long run it gets you all kinds of great opportunities like this one. I also want to thank the local officials for being here, and Madam City Manager, it's kind of a drag not to have you on Beacon Hill anymore, but we understand you're doing a terrific job here, and it gives me the opportunity to comment on another element of all this. President Meehan talked about the fact that as an administration, we created a program to invest about $100 million over several years alongside our colleagues in higher education, our colleagues in the private sector, and our colleagues at the federal level. And a big part of the reason why we did that was to make clear to people that we were serious about these opportunities. I spend a lot of time working with my colleagues in local government. So does our Secretary of Housing and Economic Development, Jay Ash. So does Matt Beaton, who's our Environmental Affairs Secretary. And so does Stephanie Pollack, who's our Transportation Secretary. And anybody who's ever spent any time with the Lieutenant Governor, Karen Polito, knows how much time she spends with folks in the local government. But a big part of our message over and over again to our colleagues in local government around projects and things that they've been interested in has been, well, I get the fact that you're interested in doing A, B, or C, and I get the fact that you would like us to support your initiative with respect to A, B, or C, and that's great. Do you care enough about project A, B, or C that you are willing to put any of your resources into this particular initiative. And it's always interesting to see what happens when you say that. Is it a good enough idea that you would put some of your available resources into the pool to make it happen, yes or no? And many of the initiatives that we've supported over the course of our 4 years in office have been collaborative. Now, that's not just a spirit of collaboration, it's also a financial collaboration. And when the Department of Defense and the folks at the federal level and the institutes associated with this started heading down this road and putting out these requests for proposals, we had a long talk about this inside the administration and basically decided that if we wanted to put our money where our mouths were and to make clear to our partners that we were serious about investing state resources in these initiatives, that we needed to pony up to the table and to do something about that. And today's ribbon cutting is one more example of that, but it speaks to a larger approach we've taken to this stuff generally. And we've tried to be strategic about the areas that we choose to invest in. I mean, obviously, advanced manufacturing is increasingly important to the economy globally, but it's also a huge opportunity for a differentiator here in Massachusetts. We have over 250,000 people who are employed in manufacturing. That's across about 7,000 companies. It doesn't necessarily get the attention that some other areas get day in and day out, but the bottom line is in many parts of Massachusetts, it's a very big part of how and where people work and how they pay their bills. And as President Meehan pointed out, the average salary in manufacturing is quite significant. It's about $20,000 a year above the statewide median salary. It's about $86,000 versus about a $67,000 median. That's a big difference. And over the coming years, there are going to be many new jobs generated, and many will require what we might refer to as non-traditional skills in this space. We understand that innovation is going to play a big part of how manufacturing evolves over time. Innovations in process are going to change the way manufacturing operates, and opportunities to create different kinds of approaches to manufacturing generally are going to create opportunities for innovation as well. And that's a big part of why, working with our colleagues in the legislature and the city manager here, when she was the Senate chair of the Economic Development Committee, had a lot to do with this back in 2016. We created something called M2I2, which is the Massachusetts Innovative Manufacturing Institute. And that particular initiative was financed with $100 million worth of capital authorization by the legislature and was designed specifically to make it possible for the state to partner with organizations like this, to partner with many of the partners from the federal government and the private sector who are here today, and made it possible for us to be an aggressive supporter of great initiatives here in Massachusetts across the Commonwealth. It also made it possible for us to create some bridges with our colleagues in academia, and anybody who doesn't think academia is a huge economic engine here in Massachusetts hasn't been paying attention. It's certainly the case here in Lowell, but it's certainly the case in many places around Massachusetts. And from our point of view, it gives us a vehicle through which we can create great partnerships and great investment opportunities and support enterprises and entities that are building the next generation of great jobs here in the Commonwealth, so that people have that opportunity to participate fittingly in wherever manufacturing goes going forward. Now, today I'm also going to announce some new grants as we open the doors to this Fabric Discovery Center. $7 million, all from the M2I2 project, and they're going to support a variety of projects across the Commonwealth. One of them is a $1 million grant to the UMass Lowell Nerve Center. Congratulations to the It's a two-part grant that supports the creation of the Robot Armada, a nation-leading test bed of robotic industrial manipulators for robotics companies, software developers, and manufacturers, as well as a robotics training center for university and community college students and faculty. That project's also being supported by the National Advanced Robotics Manufacturing Institute. Thanks very much for being here with us today to help us announce and support this initiative. It also makes UMass Lowell and this facility extremely unique, in that the projects housed here are supported by 3 of the national institutes, AFOA, NextFlex, and ARM, making it the only facility of its type in the country with 3 institutes collaborating under one roof. There's that word again. And I think that's a big statement to all of the folks associated with UMass Lowell who have clearly proven their worth over the course of many years with respect to this. I'm also pleased to announce a $2.5 million investment to continue our support for the projects under the Advanced Functional Fabrics of America Institute, otherwise known as AFOA to everybody here, which is a partner on the UMass Lowell Fabric Discovery Center as well. A grant of $239,000 to fund a UMass Amherst Vital Signs Monitoring Project in Amherst, which will enable the development of vital sign monitoring technology in partnership with the National NextFlex Institute. The 4th award is the American Boronite Corporation in Burlington, Mass., which is a $240,000 grant, which is also in partnership with AFOA and will allow Boronite to expand their manufacturing of advanced textiles utilizing boron nitride nanotubes, of which I have no idea what that means, a revolutionary material with unique multifunctional properties and great commercial potential. Carpe Diem, Inc. of Franklin, Mass. is receiving an award of $2.1 million, which is going to be supported by the National NextFlex Institute as well for flexible hybrid electronics. And that partnership is expected to create over 100 new manufacturing jobs within 3 years as the partners develop new printed hybrid electronic solutions for a host of applications, including air filters and medical devices. Finally, Pendar Technologies of Cambridge will receive a grant of $845,000, and that's being supported as well by the American Institute of Manufacturing Photonics National Institute. And that move will open up new commercial opportunities, will enable the company to apply for new Department of Defense projects, which will help the firm create somewhere between 20 and 50 new manufacturing jobs and increase their revenue somewhere between $5 and $10 million annually. And again, I'm pleased to be able to announce these $7 million in awards for these projects. It just speaks to the fact that there's a tremendous amount of great work going on here. And it also speaks to how important it is for us to sustain our investment in these fields over time. And I want to thank very much our national partners for being here with us today, who are also investing alongside with us in these projects and celebrating the innovative possibilities that these projects can produce. And then finally, to the students who are here in the audience, we want to ensure you that these new ideas that you're dreaming up day after day, month after month, and year after year will be able to be done, because we're going to focus on making sure that you have the tools to be successful as you dream big. And then finally, I just want to say how much we, as a Commonwealth, appreciate the partnerships, the collaborations, and the relationships that make all this possible. This is very much a team sport, as Dr. Chen said at the beginning of her remarks, and we are honored and thrilled to be part of this really great team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Governor. And what I'm going to, in the next section here, we're going to hear from each of the Manufacturing USA Institutes. But I would first like to mention that, as the governor said, these types of things do not happen without a lot of effort and collaboration. And I want to acknowledge, is Katie Stebbins in the room somewhere? There they are, right in front of me. Katie Stebbins early on, right, talking about scratching out ideas on a napkin over a cup of coffee. That is the spirit of what this building is supposed to be, right? The creative collisions that can help make those things happen. And I want to just thank you, Katie, for all your efforts. So a big part of that is, of course, the support and the willingness of the Manufacturing USA Institutes to be part of this vision of bringing together things under one roof. And so what I'd like to do is first ask, representing Tracy Frost and the Office of Secretary of Defense, under which all the DoD Manufacturing USA Institutes fall, Steve Lukowski, Program Manager for AFOA, and also part of that whole Manufacturing USA Institute ecosystem. Steve?
Okay. Well, as you noted, there are a lot of DoD people here today, so Tracy Frost is running the Pentagon right now. Wanted to make sure that you knew that, and you have me as a backup here to represent the Department of Defense. So on behalf of Tracy Frost, who's the program director for the Manufacturing Institutes, I want to thank you, Governor Baker, and really all the people of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for your support. When we first launched the idea of this partnership that we call the Manufacturing Innovation Institutes, we were hopeful that we'd have willing partners that could match our federal investment in manufacturing innovation. As you noted, Governor, you never know what's going to happen when you ask others to contribute to that. So the $75 million that we've contributed is a serious investment, and when you ask for other people to participate, you never know exactly what's going to happen. And as an organization, I think it's typical for the DoD to be on these journeys alone. Oftentimes we do unpopular, hard things, so we don't really know what the outcome is going to be. But with these institutes, we wanted to accomplish something that was different than we would before. We wanted to partner up front with academia, industry, to leverage regional strengths, establish a national ecosystem, and strengthen our national security and the vitality of our economy through a public-private partnership. And we don't usually do that, right? We usually develop things on our own, develop our products on our own, and then maybe after 10 years you find out what we did, and you're usually pretty happy with the outcome. But that's not the kind of partnership we were looking at. So now that we're 6 years into this journey, I can tell you that Massachusetts is absolutely an exceptional partner. And there's really nothing more reflective of that than this partnership we have here at UMass Lowell. So today what you're witnessing is, you're witnessing the growth of this network firsthand. From the AFOA headquarters that's in Cambridge, to the Defense Fabric Discovery Center that's at Lincoln Labs, and now this FDC here at UMass Lowell. As a partner, the state has contributed cost share that's really maximizing the value of our investment from a federal standpoint. But I assure you, this is more than just renovating buildings, buying equipment. It's really about creating a unique opportunity for collaboration between industry, government, and academia. And what is really exceptional about this here is, as you're seeing, and what's been talked about, is really the convergence of activities within the department. Here you have represented, I had to cross it out because I had 4 of the institutes, but Governor, you noted it's 3, and I think maybe I was anticipating photonics being here as well. But that'll be for the future. I don't want to.
It's still time.
It's still time. That's still time, and also that's reflective of what you've built here. I think this is maybe at some point there'll be 8, and all of our Manufacturing USA institutes will find the convergence of their activities here. So I think that that's really reflective of what you're doing in terms of helping us build a collaboration, because probably, as you know, in the Department of Defense, that ain't easy to do. So you're really helping us help ourselves. So I really appreciate that. So, and why does this happen? This happens, it happens because of exceptional leadership. And Governor Baker, I mean, it's already been talked about, I mean, your leadership from the state standpoint. I mean, the federal level, I mean, there are 50 states, right? So we get to see what's going on at a national level, and what you've done here is really remarkable, and you know, we're very pleased to be a partner. I also want to acknowledge the efforts of Ira Moskowitz, who's part of our board at AFOA. I don't know where Ira is here, but oh, there he is. Hi, Ira. Excellent. And also, Julie, what you guys have been able to do here is create a blueprint of collaboration, and I really appreciate your efforts to do that, and your participation in the AFOA board, and really helping us move forward. I also want to recognize the foundation that was laid here many years ago by NSRDEC and the HEROES program. Mr. Tamilio, Dr. Tamilio, you know, your team has been great. Matt and Laura, Jeff, I mean, really, you know, as another Army employee working at RDEC, you know, sister organization, it's really great to work with colleagues. And what you've built here has laid a strong foundation for what we've been able to really capitalize on at the federal level. And I also wanted to thank the NextFlex team, Eric Forsyth, Scott Miller, and all the folks in the DoD that are other program managers that are part of this collaboration. I don't think, again, you don't see this happen often. in the department, I think is very unique, and we really appreciate the fact that you're helping catalyze that effort here. And finally, I want to thank UL and the AFOA team for your tireless efforts to develop the fiber-based technologies and fiber-inspired products that are extending the value of our network nationwide. So when I was driving up here and stuck in traffic, which I'm from New Jersey, so I'm used to that, but I noticed that every license plate talks about Massachusetts, the spirit of America. And I was like, yeah, you got it here. So really appreciate all your efforts, and on behalf of Tracy, thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Next, Yoel Fink, who is CEO of AFOA, former director of the Research Laboratory of Electronics at MIT, and it has always come with great demos. So, Yoel, I see he's got something in his hand here.
Thank you, Joy. Imagine a world where technology is as light as your shirt, as soft as your pillow, and as beautiful as your dress. So all of you in the room recognize this as a communication system. That's right. But no one here recognized this as such. But it is. So one thing I wanted to point out to you right from the get-go, hard technology, and you could do this at home, hard technology is easy. Soft technology is hard. So our vision for this traditional industry is anchored by two paradigms. And the first is that of the Moore's Law for fibers, where fibers are going to go through in the years ahead a very similar process to what transistors did in the 50s and 60s and 70s, where they're going to double their capability and capacity every few months. And that Moore's Law for fibers is really going to be the basis for making technology appear as soft and as beautiful as that. So that's principle number one. The second one is that fabrics have always been thought of, monetized, and experienced as goods, as merchandise. But what this technology allows us to do is, in fact, elevate fabrics from being a good into something that provides a service or an experience. And so fabrics as a service is really what the future is about. So how do you attract a new generation into this ancient field? Is you show them that fabrics, in fact, are the new software. So AFOA has been building a national prototyping network and really getting this entire nation to pool together its prototyping capabilities to rapidly move manufacturing and product together. And the opening of this Fabric Discovery Center today is an important step in the way. I wanted to point out that we already in the state have a Fabric Discovery Center that's focused on defense applications, a collaboration between NSRDEC and Lincoln Labs, a collaboration between the Army and the Air Force. AFOA has also been the first manufacturing institute that is really focused on product. And Massachusetts companies are at this point at the forefront of creating products out of these advanced fabrics, ranging from sound systems to color change, and from ropes that communicate to caps that help you navigate indoors. And I'm very pleased to share with you that the first fabric communication system commercial product is currently under testing and is expected to be released in the months ahead from a major brand here in Massachusetts. Wonderful things happen when ideas that emerge from decades of research, basic research in university, meets a dedicated visionary leaders from state and the federal level with a thirst from industry for change and with a digitally connected generation of millennials that want to express their creativity in new and entrepreneurial ways. We're unified in our efforts today to transform ancient fabrics into a beautiful future, and I wanted to thank everybody here for participating in that, but most importantly, UMass Lowell, the leadership, Julie, Katie, who used to be part of the leadership here and but really has put her heart and soul into this. Our federal partners, and I've been a CEO of a small company. I've had boards. I've never had a more supportive and dedicated investor than our partners in the DoD, and most importantly, our visionary Governor Baker, who I get to see more often than many of my friends. And that is a testament to how dedicated he's been to our cause. So thank you very much.
Thank you all. And speaking of other FDCs, we have some colleagues from the Drexel FDC here today. So it's great to have you here. So NextFlex, headquartered in California, but they spend a lot of time here in Massachusetts thanks to the governor's investment. It's my pleasure to introduce Scott Miller, Director of Strategic Programs for NextFlex. He led R&D teams at GE for many years in wearable devices and has taken his skills over now to the NextFlex Institute. Scott?
All right. Well, thank you, Julie. It's my pleasure to join all of you here today at the grand opening of the UMass Lowell Fabric Discovery Center. I'm joined here today by NextFlex's Government Program Manager, Dr. Eric Forsyth from the Army Research Lab. And our being here really reflects NextFlex's commitment to work with this center. As a public-private partnership, NextFlex brings together our federal sponsors, states, corporate, and academic partners. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts, its companies, and its universities have really been some of our strongest partners since even before NextFlex was officially established almost 3 years ago. Together, we work to advance the field of flexible hybrid electronics, or FHE as we call it, which is the key enabling technology for electronics that can bend, flex, and stretch. The technology is real, and it's here today. It can seem really abstract if we just talk about it as an acronym. So I'll offer you 3 examples of applications that are really big swings in the field of flexible hybrid electronics that will be coming in the future years. So the first is an article of clothing that looks and feels and acts like any other, except that it's also a patient monitor that can follow a patient from the hospital to the home, accelerate their journey home, and improve their outcomes. The second is a Band-Aid-like device that is also a biochemical sensor that can give early warning of problems in early preterm babies to give doctors critical extra hours to intervene and save their lives. And the third are technical fabrics with integrated electronics that can be used in composite materials, say for manufacturing of an airplane, that allow measurement of stresses and strains in those composite structures over large areas that can be used then to respond in real time to improve the performance, to increase safety or extend the useful life. Along with our partners, we work to ensure American manufacturing competitiveness in this new industry. NextFlex also works to ensure that we have a workforce that's able to support this industry in its long future. We're very excited that Massachusetts and the UMass system are leading the discussion to integrate the Flex Factor project-based learning initiative that we've developed into academic and industry ecosystems in this area. This approach will support a wave of innovation across Massachusetts and inform, inspire, attract, and recruit the next generation into the education and career pathways of advanced manufacturing and technology sectors. This Fabric Discovery Center represents a tangible instantiation of Massachusetts' commitment to support advanced manufacturing. It creates a real opportunity to advance technologies and address manufacturing challenges in flexible hybrid electronics. But perhaps it's most exciting that it brings us an opportunity to collaborate between the 3 institutes, NextFlex, AFOA, and ARM. We look forward to continuing to work with the researchers here and the companies that come and work here as well. So thank you and very, very much, and congratulations on the grand opening of this center.
Thank you, Scott. And now that the governor's made the official announcement, we can officially welcome our third partner, Dr. Byron Clayton, CEO, fairly new CEO of ARM, Advanced Robotics for Manufacturing. He previously led economic development and regional innovation clusters in Baton Rouge and Northeast Ohio. It's a pleasure to have you here.
So first of all, you folks really know how to put together a grand opening. This is great. And as Julie said, I spent some time in Louisiana, and I used to always say how great they were with putting together parties. But this would rival that. This is great. We just need a float and some beads, and away we go. I had some prepared remarks, but I decided to kick those to the curb because there's a couple of things that really struck me as I walked around with Holly Yanko today. First of all is the commitment to the investment into the future of manufacturing. It's something that I felt the second that I walked through the door here. And you don't see that very often. You see, I've traveled all around the country, I've worked around the country, and everybody talks the talk, but you don't see enough states, enough universities walking the walk. And I see that here. It's amazing. The second thing that really struck me is the fact that you get it. You know, some of the things I wanted to talk about was going to talk about the bigger picture. You get the bigger picture. As I heard people talk about things like jobs and you know, the manufacturing and doing things better and new products and growing the economy, that's really what this is about. Technology is a tool for that, but the future of manufacturing is really all about technology and robots and people all working side by side, creating products that we've never seen before, but doing it, you know, better, cheaper, and faster than we've ever done before. That's the future. When Holly was talking to me about what was in this building, this is the future of manufacturing. It's starting to culminate today. And it's really important, and I talk about this all the time around the country, it's really important that as a country, we not only accept the future, but we embrace it. And a few of us actually need to get out in front and create that future. That's what's happening here, and I am very proud to be a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Byron. So just before we close out this part of the speaking program, I just want to mention, we've heard a little bit about the foundation for some of this, and one of the big foundation, as we heard before, was the HEROES program with Natick and Ram Nagarajan and Lynn Samuelson, who was here earlier, I think were key parts of that effort. I also want to acknowledge Nikki Songas, who was a big supporter of the HEROES program. I think June Black from her office is here today. So that has been a great, as I said, it takes friends, supporters, partners, and teammates to make this happen. So the third leg that we talked about here is industry. And industry is ultimately what this is about. It's about making commercial products that you and I can benefit from. And there are so many companies that have already been a part of the envisioning of what this center is all about, that have helped us in terms of thinking what equipment should be here, what things should we be thinking about. And so on behalf of all of those companies, it's my pleasure to introduce, representing a Massachusetts manufacturer, Mike McCurry of E-Ink.
Thank you, Julie. Governor, other honored guests. What a rush it is to be a high-tech company here in this Massachusetts epicenter of science and technology. It's really fabulous. A lot of you may know of E-Ink already as the MIT spin-out that invented the screens that go into all of the Kindles and other electronic readers today. But what you may not know is we have a major push now to expand well beyond that into very different kinds of things, including smart fabrics and fibers. And to do this, we have to rely on and want to rely on collaborations between the universities and government-funded consortia. And that includes, of course, the UMass Lowell Fabric Discovery Center here, but also working with AFOA and making smart fibers that are hollow and filled with ink engineered particles that'll be able to change color, be warm or cool in the sun. We're members of NextFlex as well. You need chips to drive these, and so having paper-thin chips and printed and hybrid electronics to drive these, we're working with them as well. The governor mentioned earlier, there's always that moment of truth when you look at the companies and say, okay, great, we're putting all this money, how committed are you? And so, I want to point out that over the last number of years, E-Ink has put $50 million into capital investments in building new R&D facility and expanding R&D right here in Massachusetts, 17 minutes away in Billerica. We were in Cambridge, we couldn't afford that anymore, and we moved out to Billerica. We also put another $50 million into manufacturing of the most sensitive high-tech part of these screens that I was talking about in South Hadley. So all the Kindles that you see, the whole front plane is manufactured right here in Massachusetts. And we have over 320 employees now that have also been upgraded in their training from a $500,000 training grant from the state of Massachusetts, which we also appreciate very much. So we're committed, and we want to go beyond just e-readers. We want to get into smart fibers and fabrics and these other things as well. So, you know, it's natural for us to also be getting into this new area of smart fabrics and fibers, because just like we change the way we see the world around us in terms of, or change the way we read, we want to help change the way we see the world around us, or on us more appropriately, I suppose, for fabric. So I'm really delighted to be here representing industry in terms of the ribbon cutting today. And I hope this will mark the beginning of a whole new century of resurgence in leadership of Lowell and in fabric manufacturing, just in this 21st century, just like it was in the 19th century. So thank you.
Thanks, Mike. And just as a plug, as you go through the tours, you notice that there are some offices throughout this building. Those offices are meant for companies to reside, to be here on a day-to-day basis. You can talk to some of the folks that already have offices there. Mass MEP is in here. Nina Paper is in here. Legionnaires, I think, is been talking. So these are companies that are based here or based elsewhere in the U.S. that want to be here because this is where the innovation is going to happen. And I also mentioned some of the other companies, Hartz, Triton Systems, PSI, bump into them throughout the tour and the open house today, because this is what we want to happen, is those connections. So let me next shift over to a recognition of the role of this center in the city. We know that education, this is a university, education is what makes economic development happen. So it only makes sense that we welcome Mayor Bill Samaras, who spent many years as the headmaster of Lowell High School, to speak to us about the role of this center in the city. Mayor?
Thank you very much. I'm lucky. I have two great jobs, headmaster of Lowell High School and mayor of the city of Lowell. But on behalf of Ed Kennedy, fellow councilor, I want to welcome everybody here to the city of Lowell, and Governor, especially to you. You're my favorite governor. It seems every time you come here, you're coming here with a check, so I hope we can keep that for a long time. Okay.
As long as it's a collaboration.
That's what I've always said. But also to President Meehan, certainly you haven't forgotten your roots. President Meehan, president of the class, the student government at Lowell High School. You see what getting a Lowell High School education can do for you? You too can become president of the system. But seriously, as a congressman, as the chancellor, and as president, you haven't forgotten us, and we appreciate that. And then to my friend, Chancellor Maloney, I know you're going to, as our friend Pat Mogan would say, you're going to take the university to the next level. But your friendship to our city has been wonderful. And Governor, we did steal your state senator, become a city manager in Lowell, and we're so grateful that she's here. I mean, but the thing is, how do you define all of this? It's wonderful, and I look at it. So I have a few prepared remarks because I'm thrilled to welcome the Fabric Discovery Center to our city. The Hamilton Canal Innovation District is the most fitting location for this important institution. Lowell's textile mills served as the birthplace of the American Industrial Revolution. That's the historian part of me. Now, nearly 200 years later, this center shows that both the City of Lowell and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts truly do remain at the forefront of innovation in fabrics and manufacturing. Today's event marks an important milestone for our city. With the grand opening of this center, this building at 110 Canal Street is now 100% occupied. I can't say how important it is, Governor, for your commitment, the university's commitment to the Hamilton Canal. You know, all of us in the City of Lowell, the City Council, City Manager Donahue, and the administrations that are part of the City of Lowell, truly believe that Lowell can be the city of innovation. The Fabric Discovery Center will be a major part of that. And your willingness to have faith in us, all of you, I mean, that's what it is. It's what it's all about. It's about faith. And you have faith, and you have the right ingredients, and you have the right support. And of course, you have people like Nancy Donahue who care, who in every direction. She's a neighbor, a good neighbor. But the thing is more important, she's a person, like many of you here, that have invested themselves, their time, their effort into making Lowell a better place. And I just can't see us doing I just can't see us losing this momentum that we have. You've helped us give this momentum. We in the city will work our hardest to continue it, and I think it's going to be a marriage for all of us, a success. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Mayor. I know also in the audience we have Jim Mabry, I think I saw Middlesex Community College President, and Jim Campbell, Middlesex Community College Board of Trustees Chairman. So thank you. Thank you. So next, it's hard to not say State Senator, but City Manager Eileen Donahue, who has been a supporter from the start. As the governor mentioned, was instrumental in the bill that made M2I2 possible and has been always such a friend of this university and this city. Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you so much. I can't tell you how exciting it is to be here today. Governor, it seems like yesterday that you were here giving $10 million to make this happen, and look what the university has done. I mean, heartfelt congratulations to the university, to Jackie, to Marty, to all of the faculty and students. This is an unbelievable place. It is so dynamic when you walk in here, and I will tell you, it is going to be key for us as we push the Hamilton Canal District to be the center of innovation, of advanced manufacturing, biotech, you name it. The City of Lowell is open and ready to do business in this new future that we find ourselves in. But none of this, and I have to be quite candid, would be possible without the support of the Baker administration. That has been really the hallmark. Your impact in this city is inescapable, whether it's the courthouse, the Hamilton Canal District, the list goes on, and it has made all the difference. You know, as the mayor has mentioned, our history, rich and proud history, was of manufacturing and of textiles, and it wasn't that long ago that many people thought it was just that, the past. But now, with the partnerships that have happened here with the university, with the private sector, with the state support, it is our future in terms of flexible fabric. Who would have known? You know, textiles up to flexible fabrics today in manufacturing. It is very, very exciting for the city of Lowell, and it makes all the difference for a gateway city like Lowell. And the partnerships, as I've mentioned, are just outstanding. So I will be brief because the mayor took my speech, and but this is an exciting time for the city. But again, I have to give thanks to everybody here, but especially the Baker administration. You've made all the difference. You really have. So, and we'll be calling on you for the Hamilton Canal District. We'll partner partner, we'll invest, we'll be right there. And I do think you'll be very proud of what's going to happen here in the city of Lowell. So thank you to the university, thank you to all who have made this possible. We look forward to working with the educators, the innovators, the entrepreneurs who are very impressive, and we want you to know, we want you to stay in Lowell, grow in Lowell, have your business here, and we will partner with you every step of the way. So congratulations and thank you all.